Sorry?
Forward, keeping us on our toes today.
Okay, go on.
We'll be ready, don't you worry. Shall we start with good old injury news? Where are you at, first of all, with David Raya? What are his chances of making the game?
We have to wait another 24 hours.
Is it not looking good? Or can you give us a little
We have to wait 24 hours to see if he's looking good or not that good.
Okay. I guess with PSG, not worth taking the risk. with him.
It's not risk, it's about a player being fit and available or not. And when we have that clarity for Leicester, which is the main thing that we are thinking at the moment, is we'll make the decision tomorrow.
White and Timber, where are they?
Yeah, Julian was able to take part in training today, so that's good news. So he will be available in the squad.
And Ben?
And Ben hopefully as well.
Okay, and can you just let us know a little bit on the progress of Mikel as well? I'm guessing this week is too soon for him, but how is he progressing?
Tomorrow is too soon. The next week we will see. He had partial training today. He's been working so hard and he's looking good. It's just about the healing of that bone and how mature that is to expose him to contact, basically.
I know you spoke about this on Tuesday, and I know it's 5 days, but a lot of people are still talking about Sunday's game. After the game on Wednesday, Pep came out and said that you two texted and that there was no damage to your relationship after what happened on Sunday. I wondered how you are still able to remain such good friends with somebody that ultimately you want them to fail. Can you explain to us?
First of all, because I love him, I respect him, and I admire him, and I admire his team and everything that he does. And this is a sport. You know, one thing is our profession, this is our personal relationship. If my relation has to be damaged because we play against each other and one draw and the other one wins, or the amount of time that we have lost, then I wouldn't talk to him no more. So that's not a relationship, especially a relationship that I consider that both of us have. So a sport, it will never get in my way in a personal relationship, for sure.
And is it harder to do that when it is so fiery and when there are accusations from either side coming at each other?
Depends. If those accusations affect you, it's because maybe that is true. If they don't, and you know, and you show your integrity and you do what you believe is right, it doesn't have to be. There are opinions, and if you don't like opinions, then you shouldn't be sitting in the position that I am. So I think it's quite simple. Don't take it personal. It's part of our job, and the things that you really care about, make sure you handle them in the right way. And that relationship I really care about, the same with a lot of people in that staff and players that I spend very important years of my life with them.
Does it make it a little bit harder that you were once that side and now you're totally the other side?
No, I think it makes it easier because I know them in very different situations, and when you get to know that person in the goods, in the bads, when things go their way, don't go their way, then you understand much better certain reactions. So for me, it's not a surprise, and I'm very comfortable with that.
Martin Odegaard wrote in your programme notes about how he's progressing. Spoke to Kai Havertz this morning, and he sort of talked about how a lot of the players have stepped up and are filling the voids that Martin has. I mean, he's still clearly around, he said, but they're finding their voices a bit more. I wondered how impressed you've been with how your team have coped with his absence so far, and those sort of players that have stepped in that have maybe surprised you in terms of taking on the leadership.
Well, if you put me in the scenario before the start of the season, with the calendar that we were given, with the fixtures that we had, with the 3 away games that we had, and with the amount of injuries that we had to deal with and how we got out of that, I will be very, very pleased, I think. So it's not obviously just with Martin. Obviously, he's one of our best players, one of the players that have more impact in the team in many ways. But there were many others as well, and the team is coped extremely well because we have an exceptional group. A lot of players are taking a different role in their leadership, in their importance in the team, and they embrace that challenge, and I'm really happy for that.
You obviously had a kind of physically and probably quite mentally demanding 10 days. You look at what's ahead of you now, and I know there's PSG, but in the Premier League, home game, 3 home games, Leicester, a chance to kind of build a little bit of momentum and go back to playing with the ball maybe, less so than playing without in front of your home fans?
But we play with the ball, no?
Yes.
Every game, I mean. So we will do the same.
Well, Kai was saying you didn't really play with the ball.
As good
when
as,
he played on Sunday, he was saying to me he's quite looking forward to actually getting his groove back.
Yeah. So hopefully we'll get a lot of momentum now.
Okay, George from BBC.
Mikel, hello. I just wondered, on Sunday, but still, it's Friday now, all these days on, and so many people are still talking about your tactics. And I just wondered what you made of that. on
About
Sunday.
what?
About the tactics and the decision to defend in the way you did. And I just wondered how far we're 6 days on and people are still talking. I just wondered what you made of that.
That I did what I believe it was the right thing, to be as competitive as possible to win the game.
Roy Keane's had some strong comments to say, and Graham Souness in the fallout from that match. Roy Keane said it was a bit of small club mentality. Graham Souness said Arsenal had a bit of an inferiority complex. I just wondered if you'd want to respond to them.
No.
And just on David Raya, is it fair to say he's a doubt for tomorrow?
Yeah, sure.
Thank you.
Is that it, George?
Yeah.
Okay, we're to Brad from talkSPORT.
Brilliant. Hi Mikel, hope you're well. Considering what you said about David Raya, it could present an opportunity for someone like Neto tomorrow. I wondered what was it about him that made you decide that he was a player that you wanted to bring into the squad this summer?
Well, we had to react very quickly with the departure of Aaron, and we had him in our list for a few years already. He's played in various countries at the highest level in different roles, and he's always fulfilled it in the right way. And I believe he was the right player because, as well, he was in the Premier League. He had experience, and he's someone that we can throw there in any moment.
In years gone by, people have talked about Arsenal and said like defensive side of things has been the club's weakness. You fast forward a couple of years now, you have one of the best defences in the Premier League and world football. Apart from hard work in training, what's been the key to get this side to be so organised defensively?
It's the player's mentality, basically, how willing you are to do certain things when you are out of possession, and how do you feel about them. You know, if it's a sacrifice for the team, we are talking, I'm using the wrong words, you know. So if it's adding something special to the team and contributing to that and loving it while you are doing it, then it's something else. The outcome is very, very different. And obviously a lot of work from the coaches, from the players individually, and keep developing those relationships. And then it's about building trust as well within the team, within the squad, that in many phases, whether it's in high press, when we are deeper, on many of the situations that we have to face during games, that we are comfortable to do that.
And in terms of that relationship between Gabriel and Saliba, they've looked like they've played together for years. Apart from, you know, I think you've said before, it was quite an organic sort of thing between them. What have you been doing to help them sort of generate that partnership? And do you think they've got the capability to be remembered as one of the best Premier League partnerships we've ever seen?
Well, in terms of chemistry, that existed from day one, and you cannot really contribute to that. You can try to support it, someday you can even force it if you want, but that was so organic and so natural. That's the best part of that. And then the fact that obviously they have qualities that they complement each other really well, and we have to use them in the right way. And everybody is clear, very clear about its role, its perception, and when they are happy and they recognize that, I think things are easier.
That's great. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you.
Alex from Premier.
Hi.
Steve Cooper has said the odds are against them tomorrow, but how wary do you have to be of a team, clearly the underdogs and desperate for their first league win of the season?
For sure, and they have a lot of ability, and obviously very well, and what is done with previous team, what he's trying to do. I watched 3 or 4 of the games this season, and they have a lot of threat. And he's got the formula as well, because he beat us when he was at Forest as well, and it's a game that we're going to take very, very seriously, because it's going to be a very tough opponent.
You just said this is an exceptional group. You do have quite a few players out, but how happy are you with strength and depth? And is this the strongest squad you've worked with here?
Well, in terms of how we have reacted, especially to difficulty very early in the season, yes, we have to prove that obviously at the end of the season. So to answer that question with more certainty, we have to wait at the end of the season, but good signs so far.
So some talented young players ready to step up. Ethan, only 17 years old. How careful do you have to be to manage their minutes and expectations, or do you treat them just like any other player?
For sure, we treat them like first-team players because they deserve to be in the position that they are. We have to be conscious that obviously we are managing the development, that step is being really far, but as well we have to be fair with them, and if they give us the right signs and reasons to play them more, we have to do so.
Thank you. Good luck tomorrow.
Thank you.
Mikel, just on Mikel Moreno, are you sort of having to hold him back at the moment? Because obviously injured in that first session, he must be desperate to play. What is it like now? You're just trying to tell him to calm down?
Yeah, trying to keep him in the cage because he's been pushing everybody, all the physios, the doctors, everybody, and he's ready to go. And he really wants it. I think we are comfortable now to start exposing him with contact, and he looked really good in training.
The fans obviously got a glimpse of seeing him with Spain at the Euros, but what's he going to bring to this midfield that perhaps you didn't have last season?
He's going to bring first an unbelievable football brain. He's so intelligent, the way he decides, he occupies spaces, he makes decisions. Very rare to see that. They're not really talented player in every phase, defending, attacking. He can deliver things. He can do things that complements really well with the quality we have in midfield. Physicality, for sure, and then he's a big threat. The moment that he's in the opponent's box, you see that he's a big threat.
Just lastly, you've obviously had a run of games where we've seen you cope without the ball when you haven't got Martin. Do you think there's going to be a sort of shift tomorrow and maybe next week Southampton where you're almost going to have to prove how you can cope without having Martin when you're on the ball and trying to break a team down, because obviously so often he is the man to make that pass, make that.
Yeah, we have to adapt to that. Obviously, the influence that Martin had in our attacking phase is enormous, and we cannot question that. When you look at every metric, the way we plan the games, the type of things that we have to do to try to get him in the spaces that he can be very dangerous for the opponent, is key. It's always in relation to him, basically. We don't have it, so we have to adapt. We have to adapt our way of playing, and we have to find other ways to do it that are very efficient. It will be different. It won't be the same. It will be different, but hopefully very efficient as well.
Nick?
Hi, Mikel.
Hi.
You were just saying how much you respect Leicester and Steve Cooper. How do you convince the players that this is as big a game as the Tottenham away and City away, that they have to be the same approach?
I asked them the question yesterday to write it. So what are the difficulties and the challenge here, and they were very clear about it. So they know what is coming, and they know this league so far so good, and they know that we're going to require to be at the top level tomorrow to beat them.
Just rewinding on Leicester, when your last season here as a player was the year that Leicester won the league, I think Arsenal came second. Looking back now you're a manager, is there anything tactically that you've learned that Arsenal could have done differently, or you could do differently to stop Leicester winning the league?
I have enough with my tactical issues to go through that. It was a beautiful story. They fully deserve it. What it is, it was absolutely amazing, and it's part of the Premier League history. So it was great.
You did ask us to ask questions about tactics. So
Sorry?
you asked us to ask more questions about tactics.
But my tactics, no.
Thanks.
Okay.
Kai?
Welcome.
Hi, Mikel. In your opening 5 games, you obviously had City, Spurs and Villa away. That's 3 of the top 5 from last season, 3 of the toughest away fixtures, and I think you probably would have taken 7 from 9 if someone had offered that to you at the start of the season. Maybe not, I don't know. But with that in mind, and the results you've been able to get, are you almost amazed that your team are receiving criticism for the way they've approached these matches, given the results you've been able to get?
I don't know, but it's honestly, it's part of what we do, because I don't want to be on YouTube because we've been so silly, I want to be on YouTube because we've done the right thing in May and for the right reasons and lifting what we want to lift and achieve. And in order to do that, we have to be very efficient in what we do. So I didn't predict to play 56 minutes with 10 men, and we have to do that, and we have to accept. And sometimes the opponent is better at doing something in the game. That doesn't mean that they are playing better or competing. They are being better at doing a specific thing inside the game. We are interested to do all the things that can help us to win the game.
And also, just on Tomiyasu, we've still not seen him this season, and is he getting closer? How is his injury progressing? Is he back in training?
He had a partial training today, and he looked good. Again, he's progressing really well. He's probably a little bit behind Mikel. But we don't know with Tommy because again he's another one that pushes every single day. But he's in a good place now, I think.
Last couple in live, James.
Hi Mikel. I just want to ask you about Ricardo Calafiori, who had a slightly slower start and slow introduction to English football, but we're seeing more and more of him now. How do you feel about how his adaptation's going?
Really good. As you said, obviously he came back, he had a little glimpse, then he went on national duty and got injured, so we had to manage him again, and then we throw him against Man City away for the first Premier League start, and I think he was superb. He's really good. He's adapted really well to the group. His understanding is exceptional, and you see, he's a player with an enormous courage and personality to play, so he's going to give us a lot.
Yeah, it was kind of lost in the City discussion because so much was talked about, but quite amazing. He made his first Premier League start at the Etihad against that opponent. Was that something that you were worried about at all, or you felt he had the personality to handle it?
With another player, probably I wouldn't do it.
Right.
But because I know how he copes, and when I speak to him, he really wants it, I decided to do it, and he showed that he's prepared to do it.
Just a quick one then. How's Miles after the other night? Picked up an injury, Miles Lewis again.
He's fine. He's fine. He was cramping, but he has no issues.
Phil?
Mikel, just going back to some of that earlier criticism, do you think that there's a bit of maybe an agenda against the club or against you, given that it seems a bit unusual?
No. But I heard a lot of positive things as well. So the criticism is negative or positive criticism?
Probably negative, or people...
So it's negative criticism.
Okay.
Great. So we get negative criticism. Well, where we are, what we've been through in the last 3 games, that tells you the expectations. So we have to raise the level. That's it.
Right, then to go out tomorrow and sort of get a big result against Leicester to sort of silence some of those criticisms.
No. I want it because I want to play well and deserve and win the 3 points, not to silence anybody, and to make our people proud. That's it.
Okay, we'll now move on to